Streaming live now on News8000.com. You're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now, This Morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alexandra Carter.
And I'm Derek Sibley.
It is Thursday, November 16th, 2023.
Happy pre-Friday.
Yes, baby Friday,
Yeah.
Friday Junior, whatever you like to call it. We're almost there.
We're almost there. We're getting closer.
And we are also almost approaching the big chill that is coming.
I thought you were about to say Thanksgiving.
Well, that's true, right? But it's going to
from
be very
today.
chilly on Thanksgiving,
It
too.
is. It's going to be very cold,
Yeah.
So get ready for that. Enjoy the mild temperatures today while we have them, because they will not be sticking around for the foreseeable future. Right now, though, we are starting to see some cloudy weather conditions begin to move in from the west. And that will be the trend, some of those off and on clouds, but especially the wind speeds and wind gusts. We're going to see them increase throughout the day, too. Right now, we're looking at a southerly wind coming up around 10 to 20 miles an hour. We'll see these winds begin to gradually increase as the afternoon gets closer. Partly cloudy skies for the morning, mostly sunny this afternoon, so dog walking looks pretty good here for today. We'll start to see the clouds increase, but we'll also see the winds here increase with some of those off and on clouds. As you can see, temperatures will be well into those mid to upper 60s. Very windy today, and south-southwest winds 15 to 25 miles an hour. So I'll have a check on your full weather forecast with more details on those winds coming up in a few minutes. Alexandra?
We will see you then, Derek. Thank you. Time now for our morning headlines. Senators late last night passed a bill that would avert a government shutdown. The bill is now expected to head to the president's desk for his signature. The new bill is not a typical government shutdown aversion bill, though. Instead, the GAP funding bill will fund priorities like transportation projects and veterans affairs only until January 19th. And other departments would be funded until February 2nd. During a press briefing, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said the bill was passed with support from both sides of the aisle, and the bill does not include any big cuts.
As of Friday night, the government is staying open. And because of bipartisan cooperation, we're keeping the government open without any poison pills or harmful cuts to vital programs.
When asked about the unusual two-step deadline of the bill, House Speaker Mike Johnson said the new bill will keep Congress from attempting to pass a budget until after the holidays. The bill does not include any new aid for Israel or Ukraine. Speaking of Israel, we are getting a look at the military operation there inside of northern Gaza's largest hospital. Defense officials say they found weapons believed to be used by Hamas inside. Yesterday in California, President Biden told reporters that Hamas operating from inside of hospitals is a war crime. The president also said he's mildly hopeful a deal can be reached to free more hostages taken by Hamas. CBS News' Doug Williams has the latest for us from Tel Aviv.
And we get some light over here.
Israel's military released this video claiming to show weapons belonging to Hamas militants inside Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza City.
What we have found, I think, is only the tip of the iceberg.
Defense forces say they are still operating inside Gaza City's largest hospital after launching what they call a precise and targeted operation there yesterday.
Hospitals are not battlegrounds.
The head of the World Health Organization said the operation was totally unacceptable. President Biden told reporters he and Israeli leaders discussed the need to be cautious given the delicate nature of the operation.
Israel did not go in with a large number of troops, did not raid, did not rush everything down.
The president also said he told Israel's government it would be a mistake to occupy Gaza.
Though the conflict has progressed and grown since, the Israelis are still compiling cars from what they say are from the October 7th attacks. Most of these cars are from the Nova Music Festival.
I have friends and family that were killed on that day. We're doing our best to find the people that are responsible.
More than 200 hostages are still believed to be held by Hamas since those deadly raids.
I'm working on how I can be helpful in getting the hostages released.
In Tel Aviv, demonstrators marched to demand a deal to free the hostages. And in Washington, D.C., protesters calling for a ceasefire clashed with police.
The head of the FBI told Congress federal law enforcement officials have launched multiple investigations into individuals affiliated with Hamas since the terror group's deadly October 7th attack in Israel, but they have not seen evidence of a specific credible threat. here in the United States. If you are heading downtown this morning, expect a few delays. According to the City of La Crosse Water Utility, a portion of 3rd Street South in La Crosse is down to 1 lane. The left southbound lane between Main Street and Pearl Street will be closed till Monday for water service repairs. Drivers should expect delays and give yourself some extra time. Happening today, the La Crosse Public Library will host a film screening. According to a La Crosse Public Library Facebook post, the event will run from 5 till 7 p.m. The event will screen the film Crooked Arrows and will also host a discussion about Native American portrayal in movies and media. The La Crosse Public Library will partner with the Ho-Chunk Youth and Learning Center and the UW Extension in La Crosse County to host the event. Also happening today, the Gunderson Health System's Onalaska Clinic will hold a match blood stem cell donor registration drive. According to a press release, the drive will take place from 11 this morning till 2 p.m. in the clinic's lower level education center. The medical center is partnering with the nonprofit Be the Match to host the drive. Gunderson Health Systems also says if you can't make it to today's drive, but you would like to join the Be the Match registry, you can text Gunderson at the number on your screen. It is that time of year again, time to start planning for snow removal. The City of La Crosse is announcing the locations where you can get sand and salt mix to clean snow off your driveway. According to a press release by the city, the salt and sand mix will be available starting today at Fire Station 10, the Erickson Field parking lot, and the southeast corner of Hood Street and Marco Drive. We'll have a link to the City of La Crosse's winter operations for you on our website, news8000.com. It is also the time of year when a lot of people like to cozy up by the fire, but local fire crews have an important warning this morning after a house fire in the town of Holland. Holman Fire Department crews were dispatched to a house fire there just after midnight Monday. According to officials, the fire started in a firewood bin and damaged the bin and home siding before residents extinguished it. They say an ash bucket placed in the bin caused the blaze. The incident serves as an important reminder. Coals and ashes can stay hot for days. Treat them as if they're still on fire. Allow ashes ample time to fully cool before you dispose them. A local developer is planning to turn a vacant lot off Losee Boulevard and La Crosse Street into a mixed-use apartment unit, and it's causing a stir with some nearby neighbors. Big Dubs LLC bought property where Heater's Car Care is last October. Neighbors say they plan to build a small smoothie shop with just a couple of attached apartments, but as the months went on, plans for the project grew out of control, they say. This week, Big Dubs LLC unveiled plans for the lot, and it's a 3-story building with 18 apartment units. Neighbors are now speaking out, and they are not happy.
Every time we've tried to communicate with them, ask them what it is that they're planning for that property, they told us we don't have any plans yet. We have nothing to develop. We're working on figuring it out ourselves.
News 8 Now reached out to Big Dubs for comment on the project, but nobody returned our request. On Friday, the city's design review committee will host a virtual meeting to review the developer's plans. If approved, construction could start right away. The state Senate's partying like it's 1920. They just passed a prohibition-style bill to crack down on some liquor laws in the state of Wisconsin. Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu's amendment creates a new enforcement arm to police special event venues that serve alcohol. These venues, commonly known as wedding barns, will need liquor licenses or face a cap on the number of times they can serve alcohol each year. Right now, those venue owners don't need a liquor license to operate. They say the amendment would put them out of business. Their direct competitors like banquet halls and the Tavern League of Wisconsin support the bill. The bill now heads to the governor's desk. Parents eager to vaccinate their babies with the new RSV vaccine have been left with questions of when and where they can actually find it, especially as we head into peak season for upper respiratory viruses. Shortages across the U.S. have parents and pediatricians concerned. Kayla Christian has the story.
I talked to my pediatrician. My pediatrician said she wasn't sure if they were even going to be carrying it or not because of insurance. So had to figure out if my insurance would cover it. Finally figured out insurance would cover it, Went back to my pediatrician, and turns out she says there was a shortage.
Eager to get her 5-month-old Lawson an RSV immunization after experiencing the illness with her first son, Eli, years ago.
And watching your baby struggle to breathe is one of the scariest things you can possibly experience as a parent.
Former Channel 7 anchor Alicia Dover said she had to wait at least a month before finally tracking down the injection in White County.
The White County Health Department had a few vaccines left, so she said call up there, called the White County Health Department, and they did have some vaccines available, but I had to get on a waiting list. So put our name down on a waiting list, waited 11 days, and then had to drive at least an hour to White County in order to get the vaccine for my baby.
The FDA approved the first immunization earlier this year. Recommendations due to the shortage have now changed, making infants less than 6 months old and immune compromised top priority. But parents and pediatricians are still unaware of when supplies will be available. But Dover says to keep fighting to get it.
Yeah, I think right now just trying to track it down, not stopping, just calling multiple places and seeing if you can track one down. It was certainly worth it for me.
The CDC says that out of the 80% of children who contract the virus in their first year of life, thousands are hospitalized. Still ahead on your morning news, Starbucks holiday cups are generating controversy this year, and not for their design. We'll take a look at the battle between the world's largest coffee house and its unionized workers. And Thanksgiving now just a week away. AAA is warning this year's travel period may be one of the busiest on record. We'll have a few tips and tricks that can help make your Turkey Day travel even smoother after the break. That and more coming up this morning. But for now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good or the yum in your morning. If you're hungry, you may not want to look at this. Fast food is one of America's favorite meals, of course, and today is National Fast Food Day. It's a day to appreciate one of the most convenient ways to eat, even if it's not always the healthiest. Experts say these types of restaurants first rose to prominence back in the 50s. From fried chicken to burgers to pizza, fast food has a little something for everyone. Restaurants like Burger King, Domino's, and Taco Bell all have deals today. Don't go anywhere. Your consumer news at News 8 Now this morning is after the break.
Well, we are looking at some cloudy weather conditions beginning to move in from the west here this morning. We'll see this off and on trend of some of these clouds moving in off and on through the day. Here's a look at the current wind speeds and direction out of the south at around 10 to 15 miles an hour. And we will see some of these winds begin to increase as the day goes on here today. Our temperatures are into the 40s and 50s. We got 50 now in La Crosse, 48 in Eau Claire, 52 in Winona. Look at Sparta right now at 36. Much colder, though, in Black River Falls, where you're currently sitting at 29 degrees. Get ready for yet another mild day. In fact, one of the warmest days that we've seen here so far in the fall season here, with highs into those mid to upper 60s in La Crosse County. Definitely feeling a lot more like spring for this time of year, but we're going to be looking at 66 today in Stoddard, 66 today in Lansing, and a high of 62 in Westby. Moving north into Arcadia, you'll be at 66 today. Black River Falls, same temperature there. Osseo as well, and we're looking at highs at 66 if you're in the Eau Claire area for us. So the bus stop forecast this morning, not looking too bad. 51 degrees, partly cloudy on the way to school. On the way back home, we'll be looking at temperatures much warmer, though, at 68 degrees, especially the further south you are, with the wind speeds also picking up. And I'll touch on that in the full weather forecast in a few minutes.
See you then, Derek. Thank you. In your consumer news this morning, new numbers from Disney are showing the company added $40 billion to the Florida economy last year. The Sunshine State can thank Mickey Mouse himself for that economic boost. Researchers say the company played a role in supporting more than 260,000 jobs. It also generated about $6 billion in tax revenue and worked with more than 2,500 smaller businesses. SpaceX is hoping the second time is the charm. The company just got approval from the Federal Aviation Administration to attempt a relaunch of its Starship system. This paves the way for what would be the second most powerful launch ever. An attempt in April ended in self-destruction. According to FAA officials, SpaceX has, quote, met all safety, environmental, policy, and financial responsibility requirements. According to owner Elon Musk, a launch could happen this week. From Starships to Starbucks, the world's largest coffeehouse chain is unveiling its holiday cups for the year. Today, the company will gift all customers a free reusable holiday cup. It's part of the company's annual Red Cup Day. This year, Red Cup Day will be a little different, though. That's because it comes amid heightened tensions between the Seattle-based chain and the Starbucks Workers Union. Thousands of employees will walk out of work today to protest Starbucks' refusal to recognize their union, as well as scheduling issues. The countdown to Thanksgiving is now at just 1 week, and AAA is releasing its Thanksgiving travel report. It shows this year's Thanksgiving travel period is expected to be one of the busiest on record. The Transportation Safety Administration is also expecting this year to shatter records when it comes to the number of air travelers. Cole Higgins has some tips and tricks on how you can make your turkey trot a little smoother.
If you're traveling over the Thanksgiving holiday, pack your patience. It's expected to be a record-setting travel season in the skies and a busy one on the roads.
The trend is that people are still traveling in very large volumes.
AAA is forecasting 55.4 million people will be traveling to their holiday destinations, including more than 49 million who will drive to their destination between the Wednesday before Thanksgiving and the Sunday after the holiday. If you're hitting the road, AAA says that Wednesday afternoon is still the worst time to hit the roads, with AAA recommending you leave on actual Thanksgiving Day.
It shortens the amount of time that you're at your destination, but it also shortens the amount of time that you're in transit.
The Sunday after Thanksgiving is also brutal, but not as busy as it could be.
Hybrid schedules and remote schedules have changed everything because now people can leave for holiday travel at different times.
If you're taking to the skies, brace yourself for packed airports and possible delays and cancellations. The Transportation Security Administration is bracing for an all-time record number of passengers at airports nationwide on this Sunday after Thanksgiving. So what can you do to minimize the chaos at the airport? One travel expert says avoid checking a bag in case your flight gets canceled and you're moved to a different one. Take public transit to the airport or book your parking spot online now. And finally, give yourself plenty of time, be flexible and very patient.
There's always going to be some amount of cancellations that happen as long as we have bad weather.
That does it for your morning consumer news. And speaking of the weather, let's check in with Derek for a look at today's forecast.
All right, thanks for that, Alexandra. We're going to be looking at some pretty windy weather conditions today. As of right now, it's a little bit breezy out there. We're seeing some of the clouds beginning to increase as well. South winds currently at 18 miles an hour. It's currently 50 degrees, though, in La Crosse. As we move north into Eau Claire, also looking slightly breezy, maybe not as breezy as La Crosse out of the south at 10 miles an hour. Your current temperature is at 48 degrees right now. We do have wind advisories in effect, but these are mainly for our western communities from Goodhue County into Wabasha, and also for portions of southeastern Minnesota. We're under this wind advisory from 9 a.m. this morning until 7 p.m. today, and that's because it will be windier than the rest of us here that are not under this wind advisory, because we're talking about southwest winds between 20 to 30 miles an hour in these highlighted areas, with gusts up to 45 to 50 miles an hour possible. So that's not going to be the case for those of us that are not under that wind advisory. So you can see about 10 to 20 mile per hour winds for the rest of us, increasing to 15 to 25 miles per hour for the rest of the Coulee region, and we're talking about gusts up to 30 miles an hour, but still a very windy day regardless if you're under that wind advisory or not. Heading into 6 p.m. this evening, still very breezy. Notice the winds here changing out of the northwest, especially just before midnight tonight, and by 11 o'clock, yeah, it's still pretty windy out there, so it's really not until tomorrow morning when the wind speeds finally begin to subside. And the reason being is because we're watching this low pressure system to our west. Here's that cold front, which is going to help pick up the winds here for us today. And then as you can see, it moves through here as we head into tonight. That's when it clears the Coulee region by around midnight, packing not only the winds, but also some of the cloudy weather here too. Those clouds will clear out of here, though, as we head into tomorrow as high pressure moves in from the west. And we'll just see a few passing clouds along with some lighter wind speeds for us to work with as well. 5 o'clock tomorrow, looking mainly clear. And the same can be said as we head into tomorrow night into early Saturday. things remain quiet. The rest of your Saturday also looking very pleasant here as well. As we break down your day planner, not only will it be windy today, but we'll also be looking at some pretty mild temperatures as highs will be well into the 60s. In fact, in La Crosse, we're looking at a high of 68 degrees and a high of 66 today if you're in Eau Claire. A check on your 8-day forecast showing that we will be dropping these high temperatures down into the 40s, kind of where we should be for this time of the year behind this cold front tomorrow. And then as we head into the weekend, highs into the low 50s, a little bit mild, back into the 40s again by next week though. Cloudy skies to start Monday, some showers possible on Tuesday, much colder for Wednesday and Thanksgiving Day as highs fall into the low 30s. Alexandra?
Big changes on the way, Derek. Thank you. Still ahead on your morning news, the Minneapolis Police Department warning of an uptick in construction tools being stolen while workers are on the job. We'll take a closer look at how workers can protect themselves and their equipment coming up.
There's no place like home. The UWL women's basketball team was at home for the first time this season last night. Eagles looking for their second win of the year. I'll have those highlights coming up in the Blitz. Welcome to the Blitz. The UW La Crosse women's basketball team tipped off the regular season last Friday night in Iowa. Eagles splitting their first 2 games in Dubuque, and now it's time to play in front of the home crowd. Let's go to Mitchell Hall. Eagles on their home floor for the first time this season, hosting Edgewood. Visitors going to work down low. This bucket is going to put Edgewood up by 7, but the Eagles, they come soaring back. Madison Kilboten left wide open. She tries the triple, and she knocks it down. UWL within 3. Then later in the half, it's the Houston native, Sydney Torgerson, taking it straight to the cup. The freshman makes it a 1-point game at the break. Second half now, Eagles still clawing. Katie Wakow with the step back 3. She splashes it home. We're all tied at 38. Other Eagles, they go on a quick run of their own though. Callie Norby puts it off the glass for 2. Edgewood goes back up by 4. But La Crosse answers right back. Lauren Milne getting fancy. The step back J is money. Eagles get it done in their home opener as they get the win 68-63. La Crosse improves to 2-1 on the season. Let's go to Viterbo. V-Hawks at home looking for their second win of the season. They were hosting St. Francis. First half, Nicole Johnson goes up strong, banks it off the window. V-Hawks up 3. Then it's the Westby grad, Macy Stelner, pulling up for 2 more. 6-point lead for the home team. That's when Emily McCurdy starts heating up from downtown. Top of the key 3 is pure. How about this? Let's try another. McCurdy rattles home another triple. V-Hawks take a 10-point lead into the break. They pull away in the second half as Viterbo gets its second win of the season, 65-43. Bucks in Toronto last night looking for their second straight win. No Giannis in this one, but Damian Lillard making up for it. Nice drive from Dame. Then later in the first, pulling up from deep, knocking down the triple. Bucks go up by 8. And Lillard not the only one feeling it last night from downtown. Malik Beasley having himself a night to remember. Corner 3 is good. And then right before the half, it's Beasley again tossing this one up. Banks open on Wednesday. Beasley puts Milwaukee up 23 at the break. Second half, those two picking up where they left off. Dame is going to drain the triple. Milwaukee goes up by 29. Lillard with 37 in this one, but let's talk about Beasley. A record 8 threes from him on the night. He finished with 30 points in this one. No Giannis, no problem for the Bucks. They get the win, 128-112. That's going to do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
You're watching News 8 Now. Expect more.
A new warning this morning for anyone who works outside. The Minneapolis Police Department says thieves are targeting construction sites and stealing tools. Kirsten Mitchell takes a closer look at how the thieves are stealing construction equipment and how workers can protect themselves while on the job.
This year, we've really been hit with a lot of construction.
The many projects underway in South Minneapolis are hard to miss.
Compared to a normal year, this is really intense, so it's been a lot. The guys here every day.
That's why Bruce Ami was stunned to learn that workers are being targeted by thieves.
I was completely surprised.
Police say in at least 14 incidents this month, a group of seemingly juveniles have targeted construction workers who mostly speak Spanish. The vehicle break-ins are happening while they're on the job site.
They have things that they keep in their cars, and you know, they're working, just trying to do their job, and they're vulnerable, and it's kind of sad that they're getting victimized.
Police say in some of the robberies a gun was used. Items stolen include weapons, cash, wallets, passports, and power tools.
I'm guessing it's just opportunity, probably.
Neil Sheridan says the area often feels safe.
If I was a worker, I probably wouldn't be thinking to lock it if I'm just running in and out of the house, you know.
He says neighbors will continue to look out for each other, while police encourage anyone who hires contractors to let them know about the trend. They say to always lock vehicles, never store personal documents inside them, and keep serial numbers of work tools in case they're found.
And it's kind of like the people that they're targeting are vulnerable, and the people that are doing the crime are wrecking their own lives by doing this sort of thing, you know, and they have no idea what the consequences are. So it's just sad all around.
The Minneapolis Police Department also says if you see any suspicious behavior around work sites, including looking into work vehicles or trying to open door handles, you should contact the police immediately. Governor Tony Evers is easing lockdowns at Wisconsin's oldest, most understaffed prisons, Waupun and Green Bay. This comes after inmates filed a federal lawsuit alleging inhumane conditions like only being allowed one shower per week and lacking access to health care. The lockdowns aimed to manage worker shortages and crumbling infrastructure at the 1800s era facilities. Now, Governor Evers plans to launch efforts ending lockdowns and boosting emergency staff response. The moves address inmate complaints of cruel and unusual punishment amid those staffing woes. The holidays can be hard for those grieving the loss of a loved one. To offer comfort, the Cooley Recovery Center brought community members together to decorate a commemorative We Remember Them tree. Attendees crafted ornaments honoring those who died from substance abuse or who are currently battling addiction. The ceremony provided connection through shared grief.
We feel that it's really good to keep in memory our loved ones and keep them close to us, and this is one way to honor them and to show our love and support for all those who are affected by this.
The tree is a part of the group's Memorial Rock and Healing Garden. That garden was started a year ago as a way to honor those lost to addiction. Most Wisconsin school districts are meeting state expectations. That's according to new data from the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction. 94%, in fact, met, exceeded, or significantly exceeded expectations during the last school year. DPI evaluated achievement, growth, target group outcomes, and how on track students are to graduate. Conservative groups, though, say DPI has simply set their standards too low. They cited districts like Milwaukee, where reading proficiency rates are below 20%. Western Wisconsin districts in the report card all either met or exceeded expectations. The Salvation Army is currently holding its annual Angel Giving Tree fundraiser. This holiday event provides gifts and food to local families in need. Community members can participate by visiting the angel trees at Walmart or Advanced Auto Parts in La Crosse. The Salvation Army's development director says the Angel Giving Tree fundraiser highlights current outreach while honoring the organization's long-standing mission.
The beauty of talking is that then people start talking about what you're talking about. So, and a lot of times with that, it puts on some of the onus into the community about like, hey, where are we at and where do we want to see ourselves going?
If you want to participate in the Angel Giving Tree, you can head to our website where we have some more information for you. Now here's Derek to tell us what to expect for our morning commute. How is it looking out there, Derek?
Hey, thanks for that, Alexandra. Yeah, it's looking a little bit windy out there here this morning. Those winds will only increase as the day goes on, and that is on at the DriveCast as well, as you can see, with wind speeds picking up here out of the southwest. That could affect your lunch hour commute and also into the evening hours, but otherwise things are looking pretty quiet. Our temperatures are into the 40s and 50s, 50 degrees in La Crosse. We're looking at 28 now in Black River Falls and 36 currently in the Sparta area. So you can see some of those cloudy weather conditions moving in from the west. Well, we will see some of those off and on clouds here throughout the day as well. It will be 68 degrees today for our high temperature, so very mild for this time of the year, and also windy out of the southwest at 15 to 25 miles an hour. Heading into tonight, our temperatures much colder, dropping to 32 as that cold front moves through, and still pretty breezy out of the northwest between 10 to 20 miles an hour as well. I have another check on your full weather forecast one more time coming up in a few minutes. We'll talk more about these wind speeds in depth as well.
Well, you hear that song and you know what time it is, right?
That's right. It's birthday time.
Yeah, time to look at today's Look Who's 8.
We only got one birthday today. It's to Benjamin, who is turning 8 months old. Now, he loves to crawl, pull himself up onto his furniture, and smile.
Of course.
That
Happy
smile.
birthday to him. Yeah, what a sweet smile. If you know a special someone turning 8 weeks, 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old soon, we would love to feature them.
That's right. Just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for the Submit Pictures button underneath the Home tab on our website.
Stay with us. We'll have Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources wildlife biologist in studio with us to talk about the upcoming deer hunting season.
Nice start this morning from City Cam 8 in downtown La Crosse, showing some of those high-level clouds out there, but it is a little bit breezy here coming up from the south at around 18 miles an hour. And by the way, those southerly winds will just only increase as the day goes on, which we'll get to here in a second. Currently 50 degrees now in La Crosse. Meanwhile, if you're in Eau Claire, our temperatures are at 48 degrees, so a little cooler though. Winds out of the south at around 10 miles an hour. Your wind speeds will also increase as well, Eau Claire, so get ready for that. Now, speaking of winds, there are some wind advisories that are currently in effect, but these are mainly for our western communities that you can see highlighted on your screen behind me. This is from 9 a.m. this morning until 7 p.m. this evening, and that's because we're talking about the southwest winds increasing anywhere between 20 to 30 miles an hour. And in fact, we could see some gusts up to 45 to 50 miles an hour in some of those highlight locations as well. But the rest of the Coulee region will not see those stronger wind speeds though. In fact, we're going to be looking at anywhere between 15 to 25 for much of the area here as we head into the early afternoon. That's when it will probably be at its windiest here. And then by 6 o'clock, you can still see that it will be pretty breezy as well. Notice the wind directions changing out of the northwest. That is from a cold front that will be moving through. Still breezy as well as we head into tonight at around 10 to 15 miles an hour or so. It's really not until tomorrow morning, once that low pressure and cold front begin to clear the area, when our wind speeds will begin to finally subside. By 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, 5 to 10 mile per hour winds there. But you can see that low pressure system beginning to move its way towards the east and approaching us here from the west. This cold front begins to move through as we head into this evening, packing not only the windy conditions, but also the increasing cloudy skies as well. Now, once the system clears, that's when most of the clouds will clear out as well. And as we head into tomorrow, I think we only will see some passing clouds here to work with as high pressure moves in to give us some drier air to help clear out the clouds. And we're also going to be obviously looking at the wind speeds decreasing as well. Heading into Friday night, if you have any evening plans, things are looking great, and we will be looking at a pretty quiet start to the weekend as well under mostly sunny weather conditions. Let's talk about your day planner. We're going to be looking at temperatures very mild into the 60s, mostly sunny there, 65 and partly cloudy by the time we reach around 4 o'clock this afternoon. And look at these forecast high numbers today, very mild, at least about 20 degrees or so above average for this time of the year. In fact, the high of 68 degrees today in La Crosse is very close to that record high of 70 set back in 1953. So yeah, we could be nearing those record high temperatures here today. Here's a check now on your 8-day forecast, and you can see that we will be looking at a much colder day for tomorrow though, as highs drop to 46 behind the cold front moving in today. And this weekend we turn mostly sunny with highs in the low 50s, and highs will be into the 30s and 40s as we head into next week.
Well, this morning we have Wisconsin DNR wildlife biologist Paul Napiorella with us. Good morning, Paul. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning.
And you are here because deer season is getting ready to kick off this weekend. And there are some 500,000 Wisconsin hunters expected to head out there this deer season, which is even more impressive that it's that high because the season's not that long, is it?
No, it's a 9-day gun deer season, so running from November 18th to the 26th. And there's a lot of people that typically, should come and be involved in this tradition.
Yeah, so it's definitely a Wisconsin tradition for sure. So what should hunters know about this season in particular?
This season in particular, you're going to want to make sure you're very familiar with your rules and regulations. That's baiting and feeding, blaze orange requirements. What do you do when you harvest a deer? You need to make sure that deer is registered. So that can be done online or by phone.
Okay.
So how does the weather impact the deer season? Because, during the hunting season in Wisconsin, the temperatures and precipitation are expected to be below average. So how does that have an impact on what you guys do?
The cooler temperatures are definitely good for deer movement. So if we have some cooler temperatures in the morning, we can expect to see pretty good deer activity throughout the morning. The less precipitation you talked about, the easier for folks to get in through the marsh access. It's not so wet. The rivers aren't so high. But one thing to remember is that the ground isn't frozen, so those marshy areas are going to be pretty soft.
Okay, yeah, so the footwear you wear will play a role in that,
exactly,
for sure.
Yeah.
And deer hunter is quite early. Deer hunting season is quite early this season. So what kind of impact will that have? Is it better for hunters, or? Typically it is better. So typically when we have an earlier season like this, our harvest reflects, you know, a little higher harvest, because hunters can expect to see some of that whitetail breeding season, or the rut. And so we're on the tail end of that, so we can expect deer to be moving pretty good during the daylight, bucks looking for does, things like that. So I would expect to see some of that this opening weekend, for sure. All right, good news for hunters.
So I understand that some hunters like to use tree stands when hunting, so how can they be safe?
Yeah, so with the tree stand, you're always going to want to wear a full body harness. You want to make sure you're connected to your tether line, or your line that connects you to the tree. And then if possible, making sure that when you're pulling up your gear, that you're doing that very carefully and not, you know, overexerting yourself or different things like that. And then if possible, I would recommend wearing a lifeline, which connects you to the tree from your stand to the ground the whole time. That's really, you know, keeps you safe.
All right, and then what about some safety tips for bow hunting?
For bow hunting, same thing. A lot of times that's done out of a tree stand, so you want to make sure you're following those tree stand safety tips. But additionally, you know, bow hunting, you're going to want to make sure you're really accurate with that bow. So practicing sighting in, being comfortable shooting, and shooting in all kinds of different positions, and cold weather too. So you want to make sure you're practicing that and just making sure you're safe with that bow.
And what are some safety tips someone could follow when they're using a firearm, like a shotgun or a rifle or something like that? Yeah, so with a firearm, we have a standard thing called Tab K that we really like to share with folks, and that's treat every firearm as if it were loaded. Always point the muzzle in a safe direction. Be sure of your target and what's beyond, and then keep your finger out of that trigger guard until you're ready to shoot. And along with that, you want to make sure you're wearing blaze orange. You know, different from the bow season, in the rifle season or the gun season, you want to make sure that folks know that you're not a deer and you're in that blaze orange. Yeah, so that's why it's important. So, you know, I'm in a bright color today. Would this suffice, or does it really need to be that blaze orange? Blaze orange or that fluorescent pink is the requirements, and it's 50% of your body above the waistline. It needs to be in that. And again, that's just a safety thing, because people are moving deer through either, you know, through pushing them with drives or just still hunting, and you want to make sure that there's no mistakes happening out there. So let's talk about chronic waste disease. What is it, and you know, what should hunters know when it comes to that? Yeah, chronic wasting disease, or CWD, it's a nervous system disease that's always fatal to deer. Things that hunters should know would be that we do have testing facilities or testing locations for people to drop off their deer heads or the lymph node samples throughout the state, and you know, there's 3 or 4 in La Crosse. But they're scattered throughout the state, and it's a free testing service. So hunters are successful and want to drop off that sample, feel free to do so, or contact your DNR station, and we can help you out that way too. So, is it a requirement to get the deer tested, or do you just recommend it? It's not a requirement, but it's recommended. It's an easy process, and it's a free service we provide. And are there any red flags that the deer may have CWD? If they're in the later stages of CWD, yeah, they can be pretty thin. They can just not be afraid of people. They can be, you know, just not doing well, normal deer behavior, and yeah, that's a red flag for us. Okay, so definitely want to get those ones tested. Oh, absolutely. And I do have another question before, because I know we got to wrap up soon, but how does the hunting impact the population of the other animals out there? Yeah, so I mean, obviously we're going to have a ton of people going out this weekend. There's going to be a lot of pressure on both private and public land, so animals can somewhat hunker down during that time just because of all that, you know, different type of pressure and different type of activity out there. So we might have an impact that way, but things go back to normal fairly quick, and the middle of the week should be, you know, a lot less hunters out there, and they'll go back to regular behavior. So. All right, Paul. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we wish all the hunters out there good luck this season, and good luck to you in your efforts. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Stay with us. We'll have everything you need to know in 5 minutes or less after the break. Welcome back. The time is 6:51. Time for your morning news now. It's the time of year when a lot of people like to cozy up by the fire, but local fire crews have an important warning this morning after a house fire in the town of Holland.
Holmen Fire Department crews were dispatched to a house fire there just after midnight Monday. According to officials, the fire started in a firewood bin and damaged the bin and home siding before residents extinguished it. They say an ash bucket placed in the bin caused the blaze. The incident serves as an important reminder coals and ashes can stay hot for days, so you should treat them as if they're still on fire. Allow ashes ample time to fully cool before you dispose them. If you are heading downtown this morning, expect a few delays. According to the City of La Crosse Water Utility, a portion of 3rd Street South in La Crosse is down to 1 lane. The left southbound lane between Main Street and Pearl Street will be closed till Monday for water service repairs, so expect delays and give yourself some extra time to get where you're going. Most Wisconsin school districts are meeting state expectations. That's according to new data from the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction. 94%, in fact, of districts met, exceeded, or significantly exceeded expectations during the last school year. DPI evaluated achievement, growth, target group outcomes, and how on track students are to graduate. Conservative groups say DPI has simply set their standards too low, though. They cited districts like Milwaukee, where reading proficiency rates are below 20%. Western Wisconsin districts in the report card all either met or exceeded expectations. Happening today, the La Crosse Public Library will host a film screening. According to a La Crosse Public Library Facebook post, the event will run from 5 to 7 tonight. It'll screen the film Crooked Arrows and will also host a discussion about Native American portrayal in movies, media, and general discourse. The La Crosse Public Library will partner with the Ho-Chunk Youth and Learning Center and the UW Extension in La Crosse County to host the event. Also happening today, the Gunderson Health System's Onalaska Clinic will hold a match blood stem cell donor registration drive. According to a press release, the drive will take place from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. in the clinic's lower level education center. The medical center is partnering with the nonprofit Be the Match to host the drive. Gunderson says that if you can't make it to today's drive and you still would like to join the Be the Match registry, you can text Gunderson at the number on your screen. It is that time of year again, time to start planning for snow removal. The City of La Crosse is announcing the locations where you can get sand and salt mix to clean snow off your driveway. And that includes Fire Station 10, the Erickson Field parking lot, and the southeast corner of Hood Street and Marco Drive. You can head to all those locations starting at 10 this morning to get your sand and salt mix. We have a link to the City of La Crosse's winter operations on our website, news8000.com.
And as you head out the door this morning, we got our temperatures that are into the 50s with a few clouds. Our breezes will begin to pick up here as the day goes on, especially as we head into the afternoon. We are looking at southwest winds anywhere between 15 to 25 miles an hour. High temperatures will be into the upper 60s, very close to that record high today of 70 degrees as well. But not so much tomorrow. It's going to be much colder behind this front moving in today. We'll be into the 40s there, and then this weekend back in the low 50s. 30s and 40s for our highs next week. Also watching for a chance of showers on Tuesday. So we'll keep our eyes on that potential.
Yes, we will, Derek. Thank you. Well, before we go, Rover.com has released its annual report of the most popular and trending dog names of the year. According to the report, Charlie was the most popular dog name, followed by Max and then Cooper. When it came to the most popular female dogs, the report says Luna came in first, followed by Bella and Daisy. And when it comes to the most trendy dog names of 2023, this one is a bit surprising. Kelsey was the #1 trending male dog name. And for females, U.S. women's national soccer player Megan Rapinoe had a big influence on more than just the pitch by making Megan and Rapinoe the top 2 trending female dog names. So Derek, you don't have a dog, right? So
no, I grew up with dogs though. But see, this is interesting because like, you know, these are the type of names that you see for human beings, you know,
yeah,
not
I know.
for dogs. Yeah.
I know, especially Megan,
I know.
Daisy, Bella.
Come here, Megan, let's go outside.
Yeah,
you know
that
what
sounds
I mean?
a little
it's
strange.
Like, it's kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a dog, but I do have a cat, and her name is Koshka, which is Russian for cat, so that didn't quite make the list. Not quite as popular.
I feel like that's more of like an animal name, though.
Right,
you know?
yeah, we call her Koshi, so yeah, it's a little cutesy. Yeah. But if you want to name your dog Megan, go for it.
Nothing stopping you, right?
Thanks so much for watching News 8 Now this morning. We will see you back here at noon. Have a great day.